Many things, when you stop to think about it, are outside of a board's control. If there is one thing a board has control over, it is how it does business, how it does its work. Good boards have productive meetings. Lousy boards have lousy meetings.
Wow, you gave me a lot to think about. Again, I have some questions. What about the use of internet-based technologies like email and forums? Can they be used to good advantage?
The short answer is use them, but don't misuse them. Clearly, email is helpful in transmitting information. Instead of mailing reports or recommendations weeks ahead of a meeting, they can be emailed just days in advance. Even complex issues can be processed by email if they are urgent. They should be presented in proposal form with a clear recommendation that permits the members to vote it up or down. In such an instance, I recommend that directors be given 3 options. They can say yes, or they can say no, stating their reasons, or they can ask that a special meeting be called to resolve the issue in person. When I use this technique, I do not adhere strictly to simple majority rule. If even a strong minority objects with a valid reason, I call a special meeting. Under no circumstances should a board get into the habit of what I call microwave boardmanship, fast but lacking in thoughtful deliberation. Good planning should reduce, if not eliminate altogether, issues requiring emergency action. Board work at its best is more than collecting the votes of individual directors. An extra dynamic kicks in when directors interact in person, producing a result that supersedes the wisdom of any one individual. Remember the Chronicle of Philanthropy headline with which we began this discussion? Most boards don't work. Most organizations, it is true, are just a fraction of what they could or should be. Your job as a director is to close the gap between what is and what could be. In every renewing society, says John W. Gardner, what matures is a system or a framework within which innovation, renewal, and rebirth can happen.
That's the end of Chapter 3, Effective Meetings. Once again, let's do some review. True or false? A board functions as a board only when it's in session. If you answered true, you were correct. Generally, the only time a board conducts business is when it's in session, having a meeting. True or false? Effective meetings require a parliamentarian. If you answered false, you were correct. It's obviously necessary to abide by your organization's constitution and bylaws, and using Robert's Rules of Order as an occasional reference is encouraged. But assigning someone the task of being parliamentarian is likely to distract your board more than help it. Effective meetings should have good planning and common sense discipline. True or false? A conscientious board is involved not only in the big picture, but it extends its management concern to include the details that are such an important part of a quality effort. Well, that's false. The good board makes a decision, and then it delegates implementation of that decision to its staff. And here's one. True or false? An effective board attends to the business at hand, but it also reserves quality time to plan its future. The correct answer here is true. Effective boards are concerned with all 3, the past, the present, and the future. Reflect for a moment about how your board spends its time. How much time is spent on past or present issues? And how much time is reserved and safeguarded for the future? Again, true or false? Boards should not be bothered with problems. Problems are a staff responsibility. That's false. Boards that add value to an organization see themselves as problem solvers, while also being alert for opportunities. Next, true or false? Boards should train management to not only present them with problems, but also to propose solutions. Well, that's entirely true. Remember what Edgar said, if someone serves you raw meat, send it back to the kitchen. Finally, true or false? Board work is serious business and should be done in a business-like atmosphere. Meet, adjourn, go home. Well, that's false. Board work is serious business. That's true. But relationships are important too. Board members need to learn to know each other, and they need to look for opportunities to celebrate their accomplishments. And that wraps up our review. I hope that you found this program to be educational and enlightening. Over the course of producing the program, I've reviewed it dozens of times. At each review, I find that I learned something new, or I'm able to relate a portion of the program to something that's happening within the organization that I chair. I highly encourage you to avail this program to all of your directors for frequent review and reference. Thanks for your interest and participation. And now, Edgar has a few concluding thoughts, taken from the American hymn writer Philip Brooks, which puts board service into the context of the whole of life.